I don't know about you, I've waited a long time to have this much fun in the cattle business. If you're having fun in this business right now, why don't you make a little bit of noise and remind yourselves how much fun it is to be alive right now. How fortunate for us that we live in a country that allows companies like Merck Animal Health to do the research and development that allows us to do our jobs better. How fortunate we are to live in a country with a free press so that organizations like the High Plains Journal can give us information and insight and story. And how fortunate for us that the founders of this organization, the American Angus Association, laid a bedrock of service to the men and women who make their living raising Angus cattle. What a great day. I've spent the last 30 years of my life teaching and working with young people in pursuit of their dreams. I've spent the last 30 years of my life as well as a partner in a ranch in western Colorado. I've had the chance to work with all kinds of organizations across lots of industries in pursuit of this notion of entrepreneurship. And here's what I've learned. The American dream is alive and well. And the American dream is what we seek deep in our hearts. Now, in addition to being a moderator, they made a huge mistake and they gave a college professor exactly 1,800 seconds to talk to you. So I'm going to try to do 4 things. I'm going to try to rock your comfort zone. I'm going to ask you some tough questions. I'm going to offer you a challenge, and then we're going to have a little celebration. Mark Twain said there are 2 important days in your life, the 2 most important days. The day you're born and the day you know why. 2 most important days in your life. Because on the day you know why, you get in tune with your purpose. Each and every one of you in this room, regardless of whether you are 80 or 8, have a brand. You are a bundle of brand equity. Purpose is about the dreams, not that we just dream aimlessly about, but that we are driven to attain and achieve. Purpose is the flame that gets you up in the morning, keeps you up late at night, gets you through the hard times so you can celebrate the good times. It's how you live. It's why. That's what entrepreneurship at its heart is all about. Now, the Gallup folks did a really interesting study, and they asked employees and management and folks of all kinds of industries across all kinds of companies a series of questions about their engagement. Here's what they found. They found the 30-50-20 rule, and they found out that 30% of the people who are active in business and in work today, whether as owners or as employees, are fully engaged. They are all in. They play to win every single day. About half are along for the ride. And 20% are so disengaged that their very presence slows down and undermines the organizations that they serve. Our focus today and this afternoon is going to be on only one set of those numbers, and that's the 30. It's the 30%. They're the ones that we must focus on. Now, if you are under 30 years of age, or if you have children under the age of 18, I'd like you to stand up really quick. If you're under 30, you have children under 18. I want you to look around. Everything we do must be for these people. everything we do is for them. Let's encourage them to stay in this business with a little bit of appreciation for their presence here today. What we all want is we want to find prosperity. Turns out it is on the map. And the path to it, in my opinion, is entrepreneurship. The path is not an easy one. The path to building, altering, changing, shifting, pivoting organizations is not easy. But this is not the space only for the wealthy or the educated or the young or the old or the learned or the novices. It doesn't matter. This space belongs to all of us if we have the grit, determination, courage, and aspiration to develop partnerships, to build something. There's opportunity. If you listened this morning to Lowell Catlett, you couldn't help but be energized by the opportunity that exists. And if you don't believe it, it is everywhere. Take a look at this. Guys, diapers for dogs. And if you don't like the disposable ones, you can get the washable ones. I have no idea what mind works that requires the washable dog diaper, but it's a big market. How weird is that? Opportunities everywhere. But what gets in the way of us seeing the opportunity? That doggy needs a diaper, and actually taking it to market. What gets in the way? Fear. Now, in a room full of cowboys, this is not a popular topic because we all have a little bit of John Wayne mentality or want to be in us, and we want to never say we're afraid. But the reality is fear can be part of the human experience, and it stops us. But the reality is fear is not a fact, it is a feeling. And the most important thing we have to do is we need to help this next generation overcome the fear of not having certainty, because we live in uncertain times. The other thing that gets in our way is our own culture. I don't know about you, but if I could just do one thing in all of the school systems all across this country, I would remove the participation trophies. Just get rid of them. It's well intended, I get that, but it speaks to the 50, not the 30. We want to inspire the 30, the competitors, and other people's purpose. It gets in our way. How many times have you had this idea and you just thought it would work, but this other voice gets in your head, the cynic, the doubter, the person who just doesn't believe? We've all had these moments where somebody else's purpose gets in the way of our opportunity, where somebody else's doubt causes us to pause instead of to move forward. Man, what a tragedy. What a tragedy. But the big one is complacency. Now, maybe it's not fair, and maybe I'm going to overreach here, but the reality is, you are the biggest, most successful breed organization in the world. We are living at a time when profitability in our industry is greater than it has ever been. It would be easy to say, we have arrived, we have won, the game's over. But complacency is our enemy, because complacency sets us up for disaster. What are the symptoms? The tyranny of the status quo. What we do today is good enough. Paralysis by analysis, and I know, I'm an academic and like Lowell Catlett, guilty, right? Never ask a bunch of college professors to make anything happen fast because we're just not capable of it. Those voices, that will never work. We have it in the bag. Our customers love us almost as much as we love us. We can rest on our laurels. The game is won. We could beat these guys with our second team. Bring on the cheerleaders. Let them play the second half. If you hear any of these voices in your business, you are flirting with disaster. Remember when IBM said they'll never want a computer in their homes? Today I'm thinking about the 3D printer in my shop making the stuff I lose all the time. And so these things can get in our way, but they're not really the problem. The problem is not the problem. The problem is your attitude about the problem. Do you understand? So if you want to build something, I think it starts with action, and it starts with a series of questions. What would you attempt if you knew you couldn't fail? I would strongly encourage you to, when you're done with this conference, and what a great conference and event this has been, an entrepreneurial venture of its own right, go home and sit down with your family and your people in your organization and say, all right, if we knew we couldn't fail, what would we do? And listen intently to everyone in that room, because there's going to be some magic come out of that. And then go the next step. Is our product better than it was last year? How about our service? Is our team better prepared? Better equipped? When's the last time our customers heard from us? And I don't mean with mass mail or email, but I mean heard from us. What have we stopped or should we stop doing so that we can allocate those resources of time and talent and energy and money and put them towards something that would actually lead us to becoming a world-class organization? What was our best failure last year? And if the little voice in your head says we didn't have any failures last year, all I can tell you is that there's some people right now in this room celebrating, because that means they're one step closer to taking your market away from you. Failure is the path to success. And finally, is what we produce, whether it's a good, a service, a product of any kind, do people crave it? Because things that people crave will handle upturns, downturns, and flattenings of economies, because crave is where we want to be. Where does our performance fit? And this is the in the morning at 5 o'clock in the mirror kind of question that every one of us ought to ask every single day. Where does our performance fit? Did we exceed expectations yesterday? We get it done? Close, not quite. Yeah, we gave it a good try. Oops. It's an important question. And it's one we ought to ask all the time. And if we get to those questions and we think there's an opportunity and something to be built on the other side, I'm going to tell you something I think is absolutely true, and we've got to embrace this at warp speed in agriculture. We have to understand that a lot of the solutions are outside of us. The solutions, part of the answers, are going to come from people we're not comfortable dealing with because they don't look like, behave like, act like, or understand us. They're the techies and the consumers and the people who see the world just a little bit differently, but all the value is in the intersection. We got to get off of the corner. See, in the university, we build silos: the Department of Animal Science, the Department of Ag Economics, the Department of Horticulture, the Department of Biochemistry, the Department of Physiology. And we build these silos on the corners, and we never, ever, ever get in the intersection. But all the solutions are in the intersection. which means we got to take the risk of swapping some paint in the high turns in the intersection. It's the place we've got to go. So if you want results, I don't care what your venture is. It doesn't matter. This is across all kinds of space in our economy. It's across nonprofits. It's across the full spectrum of the beef supply chain. You want to be successful, create a benefit or a solution. Job one, create a solution. Deliver something meaningful. Be memorable. Relentlessly positive. Relentlessly positive. It's interesting, yesterday, some proof of that. My home state of Colorado, my native state of Colorado, a relentlessly positive campaign by a young congressman named Cory Gardner, and a relentlessly positive campaign in my adopted state of Nebraska by a young guy named Ben Sass, turned them into two of the next senators in the United States Senate. Relentlessly positive. It works. Create the unexpected. And what that really means is over-delivering. How accustomed we've gotten to poor service, to products that just barely perform or even underperform. If we can figure out how to get to over-delivery, we're going to win, and we're going to win a lot. Now, this is hard to believe, but it's so true even in the business of ranching and cattle production and stockers and feed yards and packers and purveyors and wholesalers and retailers and great folks like was represented here this morning with our chef. We have to entertain, mesmerize, and engage, because whether we like it or not, that's the new economy. That's the new economy. Now, I know people in the back, I know there's people in this room, there's that little voice in their head that says, yeah, but we're in the commodity business. We are in the commodity business. No. Anything can be dramatically differentiated. Anything. Doggy diapers. It's the silliest example I can come up with, but if that'll work there, it'll work in anything. Commodity is a state of mind. Commodity is when we settle. See, so entrepreneurship is really about a couple of things. It's about seeing the opportunity. And oftentimes, to see the opportunity, we have to have a partner or two who each bring a part of the idea with them, and we get together and we solve it. And we get to see that in our program at the University of Nebraska all the time. These really bright, motivated, talented young millennials who hang out together, and all of a sudden the biochemist and the code writer and the animal scientist, the light comes on and boom, they have a solution. And then you have to own it. Ownership's hard. Ownership is not for sissies. Because ownership, like wrestling, means when we step on the mat, it's us. There is nowhere else to turn. If I'm going to win that match, I am going to win it on my own. Now, I have been prepared and trained and coached and loved and supported by a whole host of people. But once I'm on the mat, it's just me. So it is in business. That's why it's so much fun. If we can create solutions, if we can solve problems, we add value. And then we just have to do it over and over and over again. And even when it doesn't work, we pick ourselves up and we go again. See, own, solve, do. Yesterday morning was an incredibly amazing experience for me. 7:45, I found myself in line at Raymond Central Consolidated High School, right outside the wrestling room, waiting for the polls to open at 8 o'clock. I looked around, there were about 15 or 16 other people there. Every single One of them had calloused hands. The poll workers, probably just like in your little town, the ladies who've been at that poll for 20 years, protecting our freedom to exercise our vote. We just finished harvest, and it is a beautiful time to be in rural America. And it was amazing to think that we were going to get to do our duty, cast a vote, drive unencumbered with no checkpoints between Lincoln to Kansas City last night, have the freedom to come here no matter what happened. Now, I'll tell you, I had 2 alternative presentations ready for the rest of my discussion this morning or this afternoon based on my own biases. I'm a little more hopeful today because once again we proved we're a self-correcting society that can do it without violence. And it will be all of us. But the most important thing that we must do as a people is we must hold our government accountable to take the bit out of the mouth of entrepreneurs and let free enterprise run. Because we'll build something amazing and powerful that will be just, and that will create jobs, and that will take others with us and will lift people up. But we've got to leave it to people like you. I get this great opportunity. Every day I go to work, I work with young people just like the good ones from your hometowns. Filled with dreams and aspirations. They get up early, they work hard. All kinds of majors, all kinds of backgrounds, all kinds of experiences, just wanting to build something. Just let me be accountable for my own future. I don't want to be beholden to anyone else. I don't want to be in the entitlement generation. I want to be in the next generation of builders. And it's hard for young people today. Even though we've got so much great going in agriculture, there are so many voices telling them, don't try it. So I'm going to ask you to do 2 things. Go home, find a young person, and encourage them to build something. Doesn't matter who it is, family, non-family, find one. Just one. If every one of us does that, we'll change the economy, we'll change it faster than anybody can imagine. And I'm going to ask a second favor. I work with about 140 young entrepreneurs from all across this country. There's days they get discouraged. If you believe the American dream's possible, and if you believe they're the ones who can make it come true, I'd like you to just take a quick minute at some point today, get on Facebook, search for the Angler Agribusiness Entrepreneurship Program, type in Angler, our deal's going to pop up, and just tell them you believe. And I guarantee you we'll ignite some amazing things from that experience. Remember my mom? This slide. 3rd day of swim lessons, Brendan Hansen's mom heard these words from the coach and instructor. You know, maybe your son should do something else. He's really not getting this. See, Brendan Hansen's mom had an opportunity right there to do 2 things. She could choose path 1, and that's let some other person's purpose get in her head. And to take that little boy out of that pool and go find something safer, different, and less difficult for him to do. Or she had a second path. And that was to listen to her own instinct and to think about, even if this is hard for him, I'm going to ask him to do the hard thing. And thank God she did. Because Brendan Hansen would then swim for 4 Olympic medals before he retired from the sport of swimming. Every one of you in here have a Brendan Hansen moment. You can be the voice that either kills the Olympic dream for someone, or you can be the voice who says, one more time, try again. Let me show you a different way. Let me help you. Let's invest in this together. Let's make this work. Let's move forward. Let's be relentlessly positive. And if you do, there'll be an Olympic champion in your life who steps onto the podium, and as they hear their national anthem, they'll think of you. At the end of the day, all of our discussion today, remember, is about the 30% who's fully engaged, fully on board, relentlessly forward because we're going to win. And one message for all of us. It doesn't matter whether we're a small producer or a large, whether we're a cow-calf producer, a seed stock producer, a stock or a feeder, just be the best. Because in the end, it's the only market that's not crowded. Thank you.